What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Shred Show Live. You can see I'm in a very different studio this morning. Many of you know I'm in the midst of some big changes coming up, which many of you are following along on the journey, but I cannot tell you how excited I am to have somebody who's not only just an incredible friend, but an amazing leader, somebody who is truly in the trenches, making it happen. Brianna Harris is hanging out with me this morning. She's a branch manager. She is a superstar in the mortgage industry, and we're going to be talking about her journey from support to superstar. So, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Are you ready? It is time to shred. All right, Brianna, first and foremost, so excited to have you this morning. You are truly one of those people that we have been friends for a long time, but I continue to see you just crush it within the industry. And especially right now, you're one of those people who always brings positivity. Your smile is infectious. People see it and are like, yes, she's out there, she's making it happen. So I'm so excited to have you be sharing your journey, sharing your story. Before we get into our entire topic of conversation, I want to kind of, for those who don't know your story, I mean, it's going to lead us into our entire conversation. You started in the industry.
Oh, you lagged for a minute. Were you asking how I got started and kind of going over
Yes,
that?
now I'm back
Awesome.
for some reason again. Yes,
You're
one
back.
more thing. I'm back. So tell us a little bit about your story. How did you start in the industry?
Yeah, so I got started in 2018 working at the Association of Independent Mortgage Experts, AIM. And I just got started being a social media manager. I had no idea what a mortgage broker was. I had to look it up as I was applying. But yeah, I just kind of got thrown into it. It's a very fast-paced environment, even when you're on the back end of it. And so from there, I started to manage the Brokers Are Better group, which means I had to go through and approve posts about loan scenarios and lenders and things like that. I don't know anything. I used to have this like running doc of all of these abbreviated words like LTV and CTC and like all these things here and there because I had no idea. So as I'm approving them, I'm also like trying to decipher what they mean. So, but I loved it. I got to work with people in the community. I got to know what works for them, what doesn't work for them, where they struggle, where they succeed, what tech they like, everything under the sun. And same for the Women's Mortgage Network. I got to work one-on-one with Laura Brandeo, who's one of my favorite people in the world. And we got to figure out how to best help women in this very male-dominated industry. So I got a lot of background knowledge there. And then from there, I went and worked with Arrive and I loved it. So I got to go from, knowing about loan scenarios to actually seeing these loans coming in and how this pipeline is moving and how to best streamline and, what different lenders are offering what and all of that. So through that, I, did marketing as well. But through all of these experiences, I finally got to sit down with a couple of my friends, Renee Rodriguez, Skylar Welch, a couple other people, Jess Breck, and they were just kind of like, do it, like go get licensed. Why not? You've been helping people. All this background information has been coming to you. So give it a try. And if it doesn't work, that's okay too. So yeah, 8 months pregnant. I went and I took my test, sweating like crazy the whole time in that tiny little room. And I passed and I cried at my desk and it's been great ever since. Oh yeah. 8 months pregnant, hormones everywhere. And I just, it was stressful.
Oh, it's super stressful. Anybody who's taken that test knows how stressful it is. It's like, wow. Yeah. Plus being pregnant with everything you got going on too, I can only imagine. And people are looking at you like, do we need to take you to the hospital? Are we good to go here? Like,
somebody kept trying to offer me like granola bars. I was like, I'm fine. They're like, do you need a snack? No, I'm good.
You're like, no, what is this? I know I'm pregnant. I'm okay. But that's so it is why I love your story so much is because you truly, and that's, how we title it from support to superstar, you truly are one of those superstars in the industry because you learn so much on your way up. And now, which is leading us to our conversation, a lot of people are like, especially when you start to work with clients, they're like, whoa, Brianna, you've only been in this industry like a year? You've only been originating? How can you truly help? Like, what could you possibly know that some other mortgage expert, they've been doing this for 10, 20 years, they could possibly know? So I want to lead into that. But before I get to that point, I truly see your position and how you got there so incredibly unique because, like you said, you were truly supporting loan officers. When you started with AIM, you were in that group. I remember when you first started kind of coming onto the scene, and people were like, who is this girl? She's incredibly helpful. She's answering questions. And the fact that you had no idea, it makes me laugh so hard because there's so many acronyms in there, like LTV, FHA, US, like so many things. And you're probably just like, what is this? What is going on here? I would argue that you could probably talk your way around any mortgage conversation now because you had to just engulf yourself in learning, which I think is really cool. Was there, and I'm very interested, was there a time or was there ever something that happened while you were being a support that you're like, you know what? Again, I know you're a mortgage pro now, but was there a conversation or was there a point where you're like, oh my gosh, like I see what these people are doing. They're helping people achieve the dream of homeownership. Did you ever think like, this is something I should do? Like, was there a time back then or were you like, no, I'm just in support mode?
So honestly, working at AIM and managing brokers are better, it made me never want to be an LO.
Really?
Because when I was hearing these people and seeing these people and getting to know, like making all these friends, and they work 24/7. They're always on, and you hear, I would talk to them about their pain points, where they're struggling, all these things. They don't get to spend enough time with their family, stuff like that. I was like,
Hmm.
I don't think I want that. Like, I love this industry and I love everybody I'm meeting, but that makes me so nervous to have, that lack of work-life balance. And I honestly got so lucky with CMS and Karina Carter because of that process that she has. I get to have that work-life balance. And that was like, that's all I really wanted. I had this feeling like I was like, okay, I think I can be a really successful LO. I know the ins and outs, but I want to make time for my family, my baby, and things like that. So that was giant fear.
This is amazing because you literally basically talked yourself out of it. You're like, no way. Like you
Yeah.
saw all the horror stories before. You're like, no way. I never want to be an LO. I see what they're going through. I see the difficulties,
Mhm.
but you persevered. You saw the opportunity. Like you said, you surround yourself with great people, as you mentioned. You're like, why wouldn't you look at, because of your personality, because you're helping originators themselves, look how much benefit, look how much impact you can have outside of that. So
Yeah.
okay, so you basically talked yourself out of it. You have an incredible run at AIM. You have an incredible run at Arrive, and then you finally get to this point. You're like, okay, I'm gonna make the steps. You pass the test in an emotional way, and now you're in the journey. Now you're actually in the trenches. You're like, you're getting out there. You're having the conversation with realtors. What's the biggest hurdle you've come up against at this point?
I would say my biggest hurdle is definitely that there's like feelings of doubt at times, and it
Hmm,
almost tests your confidence.
sure.
I having all these years, I've been in mortgages for about 6 years now, so I do know a lot. But sometimes when you're in those conversations with realtors, you're trying to impress them and also almost like reassure yourself that you are correct about the knowledge that you're sharing. And it can be like, in my mind, sometimes people ask a question enough times that it makes you second guess the answer. And it's been I have to constantly remind myself, and my team constantly reminds me, like, go with your gut. You know what is going on. But it can be a little bit intimidating at times to try and branch out there, and you're surrounded by all these veteran loan officers and lenders and things like that, and trying to make a name for myself. And my the number one thing I constantly remind myself is carry your confidence with you at all times. You are good at what you do, and don't ever let anybody make you feel any different.
Oh, wow. That I can see that being a huge challenge. And that's kind of where I want to take this conversation because you are somebody who has thrived through this. And I see you again being the superstar that you are in the industry. Yes, you came from a back, like you mentioned, you've been in the industry for 6+ years. But how long have you actually, when did you get your license? How long ago did you get it?
It's been about 8 months, 9 months,
So it's
so
been
not
less
too
than a
long.
year. So, I mean, you
Yeah.
are less, again, this is really where I want to take the conversation for those who are possibly looking to transition the industry, those who are newer in the industry, because this industry, as you mentioned, this is dominated. It's a very male dominated industry still to this day, but it's also dominated by the people who have been in it. I mean, still the average age of a mortgage professional is 52 years old, which is still like, wow, and they've been doing it for a long time as well. Most people, and we laugh about this because I've been in this industry a long time as well. We joke about it. We all fell into this industry. We all weren't like, hey, I want to be a mortgage pro when I grow up.
No.
But even you being in it and seeing both sides, from the support side, coming from a tech company even, and now being an originator yourself, there's an incredible opportunity, as you're seeing, to help people with that American dream, to help them achieve that dream of homeownership. So as you're going through these struggles, as you're talking with these realtors, I'm sure you've got those discussions like you and I were talking about prior to, like, well, Brandon, like, you're still new to this. Do you know as much as other people? How do you instill that confidence, that trust with home buyers, and what? How do you instill that confidence with your consumers, and how are you really doing that with your realtors as well?
Yeah, so it's funny because through all these years of me gaining knowledge and things like that, everything that you teach people, everything that you hear other, people within the industry trying to teach them, I just use that knowledge that,
Mm,
and whether that be, you don't have to know everything under the sun about loans. It is okay that you don't know, and just communicate that with them. Don't give false hopes. Just be like, I don't really know the answer, but I'm going to do some research and I'll get back to you very quickly. That's okay. But what you want to do, and what I make a big priority, is I have my CRM set up and I use it like my Bible. Like, it is my constant go to. The minute I get off a call with somebody, I put notes in my CRM. I have my tags,
mm.
like everything. I use all my tech. I use Arrive, which is very funny. I love being on the other end of Arrive now, but I use Arrive, and I have all my realtor landing, or my realtor POS pages all set up. Everything is good to go. I use Pupple. I use everything I can to make the process as easy as possible for realtors to want to share my application with clients. And I co-brand everything, which also makes them want to share it, and they're so impressed. Like, wow, I can't believe that just happened. I have my landing pages in Bonzo set up. So at the minute a realtor gives out that link to somebody, or they fill out, their landing page, within seconds they get a text that says, "Thank you so much. It was so great connecting with you. Here again is my application in case you needed to fill out an application." Like, how can I be one step ahead of all of these veterans in the industry, or just anybody in the industry? And it's by being on top of my game at all times, having that follow up. I send weekly videos to all of my clients, to all of my realtors. I like to be in front of everybody as much as I possibly can. And I think that has been the most beneficial for me, and has allowed me to stand out and to have great loan volume as a new LO in kind of a harder time.
Kind of a harder. This is a hard. I mean, let's just
It's
call it
pretty
that.
hard.
I
It's
mean,
not
this is one
easy.
of the harder times. I've been in this industry. I've seen a lot of the. I saw the original crash in the 2008, 2009. So this is a very, very difficult time. Very unique. Everybody wants to compare it back to them, but it's unique in and of itself. Especially when it comes to
Exactly.
new LOs and new mortgage pros like yourself. Is all the people who the seasoned veterans, if you will, they're the ones who have built up portfolios. They're the ones who have built up clientele in the past. You're out there making it happen. You're out there having the conversations that these are brand new relationships. You have to start from ground zero and really build your way up to this. So in
Yeah.
my opinion, I think, like, again, I see the work that you're putting into it, and it's absolutely incredible. Mike Eshelman comments here: a CRM is only as good as the data you put into it. And that's exactly, you and I have had this conversation before. Putting the
Yeah.
data into it and utilizing it in the right way, it's something that's absolutely critical. Now, I want to kind of chat about this too, because being a new originator in the business, is it what you were expecting? How has it been these first 8 months? How is it, like, I want to hear the real, how has it been for you these first 8 months?
So it wasn't what I was expecting. I think only because I had no idea what to expect. I was honestly terrified. Um, just because I think it was like a two-part, right? Like, I've been in the industry for a long time. So I almost felt like I had this expectation that I needed to go out guns ablazing and just like kick butt. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what if I don't? Am I letting like people down? Am I letting myself down? So I had that with me in the beginning. And then in those first couple months, I have a brand new baby. I'm trying to figure out a way to make this work. And it was crickets for a little bit. And so I second guessed myself a lot. And I was like, maybe this just isn't for me. Maybe I'll go back to the other side. But I just took that out of my mindset, and I kept just trying. And social media, which we know, it's my best friend. And it just
Ooh.
started to slowly bring people to me. And what was nice was that it brought people to me who didn't have realtors working with them. So then I was able to make some relationships. And then it's just that trickle effect that just kind of took off like wildfire.
Ah,
So,
Okay, now you've hit the chord with me with talking about social media. So you've made this transition. You're starting to, kind of find your way. 8 months in the business. Again, you're well versed in the industry, so you've got the
Mhm.
knowledge. Plus, something you mentioned there, I want everybody to go make. I want to reiterate this because you don't have to be the smartest person in the room all the time. You just have to be one step ahead. Consumers don't know, and if you're especially for me in particular, I appreciate when it comes to customer service, kind of taking a step back from this. When it comes to customer service, if I ask you a question, if you try to bullshit me, I know. I can totally see like I would rather like you say like, hey, you know what? That is a fantastic question. With the market as much as it's changing, let me find out and I'll get right back to you. I would much rather, especially when it comes to a mortgage. I don't want somebody to give me an answer that they think I want to hear. I want the real answer. So take a step back, do your research as a mortgage pro. And hell, you and I both know this, Brianna. The industry is changing so much that even the seasoned pros, like there are updates, there are guidelines changing all the time. So being able to take a step back and say, hey, let me find out for you. Like, I want you to be able to trust me. I want you to have that confidence in me. So let me double check on that. Let me get back. You saying that, I think everybody, whether you're new, whether you're seasoned, that is such, it sounds so simple, but especially the mortgage pros, Brianna, you and I have both seen this. Sometimes they're like, well, I know everything. I've been doing this for so long. I'm just going to give, nah, like be humble enough to really do the research because ultimately that's what our consumers need. So you've done this again. You're building this trust with realtors. You're building trust with consumers. You start using social media, and this is I'm glad you even hit on this chord because you mentioned something that is so critical because people start using social media and they're like, well, Josh, I've been doing this especially with Shred You and all that I do on social media. People are like, well, Josh, I tried social media for 30 days and it doesn't work. And I'm like, 30 days? Like that's not even like getting started. You have to put in
No.
time. And you literally said it. It takes time. You're out there. You're building those relationships in the way that social media was meant to be built. So how is social media, especially as you're kind of gaining momentum here, how has it really helped you stay in front of your community?
Oh, it's been everything. So with social media, we go into Facebook. I am a part of every single Facebook group within from here until counties and counties over. And I eventually want to spread out even more. But I engage with them. I'm constantly looking at people asking questions about anything. It could be sending their kid to college. It could be home renovations. It doesn't have to just be direct. Like, I'm looking for a loan officer. Well, how can I support you in other ways? Because I'm here, I'm not trying to sell anybody anything. I'm here to make lasting connections with people. And even if you decide not to choose me, I hope that you found what I gave you valuable and you can refer me to one of your friends. So I constantly have that going. We have a ton, I'm out in Nashville. We have a ton of new builds coming up everywhere. Well, we all know that those new build they come with a certain lender. And so what I offer is, people can send me their LE if they'd like, and I'm happy to look over it and just guide them. They don't have to use me. They can continue to use them. But when it's time to refi, guess who they're going to come to? They're going to
Bingo.
come to. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, go ahead.
Yeah, they have that relationship with you. That whole we talk about the builder relationship. That's a whole nother death topic that you and I could
That
get
is
into right
true.
now. But it's so
That is
funny
true.
because I want everybody to listen what you just said in the communities because this is the number one. And you of all people have seen this, being that you were in the AIM community, seeing what groups really are. Sometimes like people just want the shortcut. They just want that easy layup. You're in these local communities within your state, within your counties, and you're not just waiting for that one post like, hey, I'm looking, who knows a good mortgage professional out there? You're commenting about local schools. You're commenting about the things that people really care about, the things that really mean something to people, even if they decided to go with another local builder. Yes, they got to go that route, but because you have been top of mind with them, they've seen you provide, hey, Brianna, she's always in there, she's commenting, she talks about that school that my other lender didn't mention that school, my kids are going to be going to that school, they had no idea about that. That is value, that is relationships, that is how social media is designed to work and be used.
Yes, and you're right. Like, so I had my Facebook going, I had my own Instagram. I made a new business page, and it's hard to get it up and running. And like you said earlier, a lot of people kind of quit before they can even get ahead because it
100%.
is a long game. And so what I do is I make it a point to go out in my community as much as I can. And that could be just like going to get a cup of coffee, going to a different restaurant, and I take a photo on there. I don't have to be in the photo. If I'm not feeling it that day, I'll take a photo of the coffee or the outside of the building. I tag them in that post they share it, and now that's being seen by all of their audience. I include my baby, my dog, my family. It's not just mortgage heavy. I go to a ton of chamber events, brokers opens, open houses here, and I just constantly remind myself to, even if it's like a short little video, like anything is better than nothing, and keep that traction rolling. Because the minute that you give up, like, why? I can very honestly say that I've gotten more than half of my loans through social media.
Whoa. There you
Yeah.
go. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it right here. For a new originator, I say that, but that is amazing. And again, and I guarantee you can speak to this, they're not leads. These are true
No.
opportunities. Like, these are people coming to you like, hey, I've seen you active in these groups. Hey, I was referred to you. Somebody else mentioned you, that you provided value in this way, or you commented on this. Hey, I would love for you just to have a discussion. They're not. I love when people are like, well, I'm trying to get more leads on social media. I'm like, you're trying to do it the wrong way. You're trying to build relationships on social media. If you're doing it in that
Exactly.
way, and again, it's not like, well, how many more leads can all these lead aggregators and all this, like, how many leads can I get in and out the door? No, these are people that want to talk to you. They see you as value. They see you as a friend. Again, you're in the community, you're with them. And it is so much more of just like a new opportunity than, oh my gosh, this is somebody that I trust and have confidence in. Oh my God, Brianna, you just like nailed it right there. But I want to start wrapping this up, because this has been incredibly valuable. So to all those out there, to all those, maybe they're struggling right now, maybe they are, maybe then for, let's just say, less than 2 years. They've been doing this for less than 2 years. They're struggling. They're still trying to find their place. What do you recommend for them? What should they be doing? Where should they be focusing?
So first, I would say have the mindset and constantly remind yourself that stop selling things. Stop
Mm,
selling yourself. Stop selling your business. Be a true community leader, somebody that people can trust. That's what people want. They want to work with someone for such a big transaction like their home loan, with someone they trust to ask. You maybe you don't realize it, but a lot of people are very nervous to share their credit information with you, for you to see all these things that maybe they are embarrassed about. So they want to feel like they can go to you and just, get that advice. So number one, when you're on social media, when you're talking to people, stop selling yourself and just be a friend, a support system, build those relationships. Two, take the time to learn your tech. Spend
mm,
the extra time, set up more. I use Bonzo for my CRM, and they do different onboarding calls with me to be able to go through everything, because Bonzo does so much more than what a lot of people use it for. So know exactly what your tech offers and use it to the full advantage, and take that time out to get everything set up so that once the market changes and business is coming in and, like crazy, that everything is set up and you're not feeling stressed. And my last piece of advice is, if you have those days where you don't have a lot going on, take time to really try and learn different loan products, different
mm.
situations, how to communicate certain products, certain things with people. Connect, like, okay, so in this kind of, for this person, they would be really great in USDA. Well, why? What are those regulate? Like, where are those guidelines? Know enough to be dangerous, and then know also in your mind that it is okay to not know everything. But this time right now, with the market being slow, it is gold for you to be the very best LO you can be when that market turns.
Oh my, three things that she just shared, three things that are huge for everybody. Whether you're seasoned, whether you're brand new, all those things are incredibly relevant right now, because all of us know everybody's a little bit slower than normal. So take those three things into consideration, take that advice, and go start crushing it. Brianna, this has been absolutely amazing. I cannot thank you enough for taking your time, for sharing the superstar that you are and how you became that superstar. So thank you so much. I look forward to continue to watching you and learning from you, even myself, because I love, again, watching by example and seeing somebody who's doing it and in the trenches. You're amazing. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank
Guys, if you
you.
have questions, reach out to her. She's more than willing to take a couple of minutes and help you on your
Always.
journey to succeeding as a mortgage pro. Brianna, you're absolutely amazing as always. Everybody, we appreciate you. We love you. Now it's time for all of you to go shred, to go show up, hustle, repeat every day. See ya.